Hi guys, welcome back to Irish Footy Vlogs. Welcome back to another First Division show. Delighted to welcome Sean Lean back on again and Keith Ryan sporting that new Ireland away jersey. That's obviously the same colours as Bray Wanderers and Kerry FC. What's the story, guys?
Very
I'm going
Keith.
well.
Good stuff. We'll start off at St. Colman's Park where Cove Ramblers drew 2-2 with Athlone Town. Luke Desmond gave Cove Ramblers the lead in 25. Pirro equalised in 33. Drynan and 45 put Cove ahead, and Leal equalised in 61. So I suppose looking at the table there, Cove in fourth on 22 points, Athlone on 20. But Athlone came from behind twice in this game, Sean. Might be the happier with the point, maybe.
Yeah, I think so. Especially after last week's result, they kind of wanted to. You could have predicted them getting beaten well here by Cove, but it does steady the ship a bit, and it's I mean, like when we went down there, it was a tough place to go. So to get a point there, they've done really well. Cove might be a little bit disappointed with it, all right, given what it's done for them. But from an Athlone perspective, you'd have to be really happy with a point.
Yeah, Keith, what's the story with Athlone? I mean, the management again, what has gone on?
It's mad. You can't. You don't know what's going to go on at Loan at any stage in any season. I mean, for another turnover of staff and like what the hell? They were going all
Why
right.
though?
They were
Yeah,
going
why?
relatively.
You see, what football? It doesn't. It never. Does it ever seem to be footballing reasons as such? I don't understand. Like,
Yeah, like I mean, I don't know if the board have a bit of a stranglehold on things, and they just like pushing buttons every so often just for the ha ha. But they'll never get a settled team. They'll never get a settled setup. If they keep on changing it. What were they expecting? Were they expecting that Loan to win the league? I mean, come on. It's and they, as I said, they've been doing relatively well. It's
yeah,
a tough out league this season, so it's a bit of a surprise.
yeah. What do you make of it, Sean? Actually,
Sort of, it's been the case for a number of years now, and it's just new people involved.
mm.
That's the only thing. I mean, Athlone fans will probably be used to it at this stage, but it is very strange considering how well they were doing this season. Look, it was a bad result losing at home to Kerry last week, but I mean, it was one bad result out of I don't know how many, and like we did our predictions, we all had Athlone finishing near the bottom. We didn't know who the players they brought in were. It's an entirely new squad, and they've done very well to come in. And this is the third change in management since the season began, and it's like it's really bizarre. I don't because if they keep going the way they're going, I mean there is a bit of inconsistency there, but it's not impossible that this team gets into the playoffs, which is about as well as they could hope to do. So I don't know what they're trying to achieve with change the management so often.
I think Pete with Pirro playing so
Mm.
well, I think he's second top goal scorer in the
Yeah,
league. So John is right. If he keeps banging in the goals, and if they say settled, if there's no interference from the outside, and he keeps scoring, they'll definitely get a playoff. So I agree with Sean.
That's where they are at the moment. They're in the playoff place, but I mean, Kerry were going to win a game at some point. To be honest, which is just
Hmm.
I suppose in a way it happened to be at Athlone. If that's the actual reason, then I can't say much about that. I don't know what to say. But speaking about Kerry, you had a nice trip down in Kerry, Keith, did you?
Didn't travel. A couple of the lads actually flew, which was I'm sure pretty cool. I
Yeah.
think the flights were like 20 quid or something like that. But I couldn't travel unfortunately. I'm raging. Hopefully I'll get there later on in the season.
It's an awkward one though
But
on a Friday evening, to be fair. But if you can get down, fantastic. But look, it is awkward, isn't it?
yeah, it's a three hour 50-minute one way. So
Mm.
like when you're working, yeah, there's absolutely no way you're gonna get down there. So but sure, as I said, hopefully I get down there later on in the season.
Yeah, anyway, finished Kerry FC nil, Bray Wanderers 2, Harry Broom 51, Feeney with a penalty on 81. And I suppose it took until the second half for Bray to get going here. Kerry might have been a bit confident after their first win of the season against Athlone the previous week. But ultimately, I suppose, job done and 3 points for Bray. It has them third in the league, Keith.
Yeah, it kind of stops the rot as such. The
Mm,
break on a pretty bad run of
mm,
games, and they struggling with injuries and stuff. Conor
yeah.
Crowley's out, Chris Lyons is out. Len O'Sullivan's been on and off the pitch a lot this season. You
Mm,
know, looking at it on the LOI, Bray could have been one up after like 30 seconds. They had a chance, and like they always seem comfortable. Kerry they gave it their all, but ultimately Bray were the stronger team, and the results, Sean, it showed. It's good for Ben Feeney to get back on the score sheet. He had a few games out, and Harry Groom seems to be kind of taking the mantle after Crowley getting good and stuff. So it's good. I will say one thing: out of all the games I'm watching LOI this season, the camera. I know the cameras at times are pretty poor, but it was really poor. Kept jumping and bits and pieces, but it looks like a nice setup down there. No, it's like I'm sure it'd be a tough place to go. You have the artificial pitch, and we'll probably be happy. Ian Ryan be happy with the results. Keeps them in third spot. So.
Yeah, Sean, from Kerry's point of view, obviously the first win of the season last week, and maybe a decent enough display in this game. And I don't know, Billy Denny came out with a few comments before last week, basically criticising some of the senior players. But do you think that worked a little bit?
Well, I suppose you have to say that it did, because they came out all guns blazing against Athlone, really. I was reading some Athlone town fans saying Athlone had about 7, and it was like nearly 10 chances in the game that they should have scored, but Kerry only had the 3, but they took all of them. And that's what you get. They tried a few new things, and I was reading. In one of the other reviews, I asked why Matt Keane wasn't in the team, given that he's the captain, he's an experienced player, and all that.
Yeah.
And apparently, the reason was he's not fit. So they introduced Togar Silong in midfield, and he's been really good since they introduced him. But as far as the Bray game goes, I thought it was a decent enough follow on from the Athlone game. They obviously came out the wrong side of the result and gave away a penalty. There was probably still that little bit lack of experience, but the goalkeeping situation seems to have been resolved there. And Bray are third for a reason. So I would say there was just a little bit of misfortune involved in that. There was 0-0 at half time, and when it's like that, it kind of it could have been a bit different. Leo Gasha had a few good chances in that game. Bray probably deserved to win, but it was still a tight enough game. I think 2-0 probably fair reflection of the game.
I don't know what you thought of the penalty, Sean. I thought it was a little bit harsh looking at it on LOI.
Yeah, I suppose it was, but you could kind of see it. In a bad way, you could kind of see it happening. Kerry really went for the 1-0 down. They felt, look, we've got a chance of doing this. They're just coming off the first ever win and getting caught at the back then. And when they gave up the penalty, then it was kind of a matter of there was no way Bray were going to miss it, because that's just kind of the way the game went on them. So maybe a bit harsh, but I'm not sure it really affected the game. I'm not sure it changed the outcome, I should say.
Yeah, he might have felt Kerry mightn't have got a goal back anyway, but even so, Treaty United 0, Galway United 3, and Galway are 10 points clear now at the top of the table, 14 wins, 1 defeat. They've bounced back well after that defeat, you know what I mean? They've won 3 in a row. I was thinking maybe if they lost one, they might have a little wobble, but they haven't wobbled at all, and they've actually beaten an in-form Treaty team as well. They've had some good results lately and actually put themselves in a position to challenge for the playoffs now, when we didn't think that was going to be the case. Another Dave Hurley penalty, Lomboso and Keisha with the goals. But Keith, I'll start with you. And the Galway machine, it doesn't show any signs of stopping, really, does it?
No, it doesn't. After their blip in Longford, and let's be honest, it was a blip.
Yeah.
Get 14 wins out of 15 games is absolutely incredible form. We thought a few weeks ago when Waterford had gone, I think it was 7 points behind, and to play Galway, you were expecting maybe Waterford to close the gap and get a win that, but I think it's inevitable. It's inevitable now. You won 14 games. It's incredible form. And they just seem to be steamrolling teams. I know Treaty the other night, there was only 13 senior players available, I believe. So, they probably hit Treaty at a good time, given the form they're in. But, Galway seem to be scoring from all over the pitch. Dave Hurley's obviously chipping in with a few goals as well. So, I know when we went up there a few weeks ago and lost 6-0, it was a walkover, and they're just so strong. It's unreal.
Yeah, I mean, Sean, as Keith mentioned there, 13 available players for Treaty, but they were in good form. They've won 4 league games in a row coming in this game, and still have to go and beat them. But from their point of view, like, they have to be happy enough with the position they're in now in the league, 6 the point behind Athlone, in a position where they can challenge for a playoff. As I said there, I'd say a couple of weeks ago, whatever, 3 weeks ago, you didn't think that was going to be possible. You just didn't see them picking up wins. So they get 4 wins in a row is incredible coming into this game, really.
Yeah, given the start that they had, it's probably, they would have taken the position they're in, only a point behind playoff spaces. But as Keith said, like having 13 players available really didn't help. I think they handed 5 lads from the academy their debuts. And that's always good to see, but it wasn't the game for that. You want experience, you want to be tough to break down.
There's no choice in a way but to do that type thing.
Yeah, they didn't. Yeah. It's not it wasn't an ideal situation when I saw the team lineup for a Treaty. I kind of figured, it was going to take a lot for them to get anything out of the game. And giving up the penalty, and then Andy Spain later got sent off, and the second goal Lamboto got was kind of a scrappy goal. Everything kind of went against them on the night. It was always going to be tough to stop Galway for Treaty, but I think you're looking for everything to go right for Treaty, to have a full squad, and maybe then something to go wrong for Galway if they're going to get something out of the game. So I suppose I saw this coming from when the team sheet came out, so it's not too surprising. It's a bit disappointing for Treaty because their winning streak is snapped, but I'm sure they'll pick themselves up fairly easily after.
Yeah, they'll hope to get those players back very soon. From Galway's point of view, Sean, though, like, they're just like 41 goals conceding 6, but Keith mentioned it there. Like, they're scoring goals from everyone is scoring goals, from Hurley to Borden to Walsh to Lomboso when he comes on, Keisha when he comes on, grabs a goal or two, the likes of McCarthy, Slevin at the back, Bruder. Like, I mean, they just have goals everywhere in the team, and that's the thing.
Absolutely, very strange.
Set pieces from play, whatever. Like,
absolutely. Well, set pieces are the bread and butter for Galway. Like, they're lethal at set pieces. The strength really comes into it, and they're a really strong team physically. And I really can't explain how the goals are coming from all over the pitch. It's not something you typically expect of a John Caulfield team, but it's it's happening. You mentioned Borden, McCarthy, Walsh, Rob Slevin chipped in with a few goals from the left back. It's just coming from all over the pitch, and I couldn't really.
Brendan Clark hasn't scored yet.
Yeah, I suppose if I was to put it down to anything, I would just say there's a level of confidence there at Galway at the moment that comes with winning 14 out of 15 games and only conceding 6. They have that reliability at the back, I suppose. Maybe that gives the midfielders a bit more freedom to push up the field, because they have only conceded it was like 8 goals or something like that. It's in the single digits,
actually, believe it or not, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, which is a ridiculous figure for this late in the season. I mean, we're almost at the halfway point, and so that maybe that reliability at the back, and having Brendan Clark then with League of Ireland winning experience behind the back four, it gives the rest of the team a bit of confidence to push up the field and look to score.
Keith, Faircarry Park finished Wexford SC 0, Longford Town 3, Joe O'Brien Whitmarsh with 2, Gurgie with 1 as well. It was 2-0 at half time to Longford. This puts Longford ahead of Wexford on the table now. They're on 17 points, Wexford 8 and 15 points, only a point ahead of Finn Harps, and probably, Keith, the most disappointing team this season, Wexford, pound for pound, considering the players they brought in, etc. And they had a good result a couple of weeks ago, but it's kind of gone back to type, really. Disappointing result for them at home, really, isn't it?
Yeah, quite disappointing. I think myself and Sean predicted Wexford to be up there, thereabouts, in our review at the start of the season, and it's very, very surprising with the players they brought in. But I know Aaron Robinson has been injured, and he's instrumental in their team, and was at the start of the season chipping in with a few goals. But James Kelly be very worried, and there's a bit of a project going on down there, and he'd be concerned that the back room or the Boward or whatever will be looking at things and thinking, is he the right man for the job? Fantastic coach, and always was. management is obviously a different kettle of fish, you know. So, but look, they've a strong backroom staff down there. I mean, with Ian Fowler as a goalkeeping coach, brilliant goalkeeping coach, you know. So, it only takes a couple of results to elevate in the league, you know.
We've seen that with Treaty, haven't we? Really. Yeah.
So if they go on a little run, and I don't know what the story is with Jordan at the game. He seems to be out in the cold. I don't think he was even on the bench the other night. After such a good second half of the season last season with Longford, I was expecting him to kick on, but look, is what it is. James won't rest on his laurels. You know, he'll know it's not good enough, and he'll be hoping to improve things. Longford, on the other hand, they're starting to find a bit of form as well. You know, great result obviously against Galway, the only defeat of the season, and then to go to Wexford. It's not an easy place to go, but O'Brien Whitmarsh has come in, and he's reaping the rewards for Stephen Henderson.
Sean, Longford Town, I mean, that's 3 wins and 4. So as Keith mentioned there as well, the win against Galway as well, the only team to beat them, and they do have experience in the team as well, like with the likes of Dervin in there coming back and players like that, and obviously Elworthy and players like that. You wonder as well, they're 3 points now behind Athlone, like, you know, they'd be looking to overtake them, but I don't know, I just see Longford steadily improving as the season goes on. They may well nick a playoff place yet as well.
Yeah, well, it was kind of a case of this could, if you got one result even, I think the Galway result was really could have been the watershed moment. Yeah. Kind of, if you get one result, you've got a lot of talented young players there, and you've got, you know, sort of small scatterings of experience throughout that team. You know, you could really, I mean, it's going to be us next week. It's going to be a tough game for us, but you know, and I mean, Henderson obviously had a vision when he came to Longford. There's a lot of talk, you know, about how quickly should you sack a manager, or are clubs too quick to sack managers nowadays, you know. And there was a lot of expectation riding on Longford this season, given how well they performed last season. So, you know, Henderson came out and he said, you know, look, we're building something here, and it may be coming a bit quicker than he expected. I certainly would have expected them to be this good this season.
Yeah, it's hard to know, to be fair, but I will move on to Finn Park, and Finn Harps 0, Waterford FC 4, Parsons, Coughlin with 2 goals, McNamee, Coughlin's scored 18 goals in 14 appearances this season. Unbelievable, really, to be fair. But I'll start off actually, Keith, on this talk with Finn Harps, and second bottom, 14 points. Keith conceded 31 goals. They conceded a lot of goals. Did Waterford beat them 7? Was it 7?
Yeah,
season, so that's 11-0 in aggregate against Waterford so far. You know, they've had a couple of decent results recently, Keith, but at the same time, they look like a team that can be easily beaten, so to speak.
Yeah, people chuckled when I had them. I think I had them in 7th spot.
I think I even chuckled a bit, I'll be honest. I expected better.
It's a tough job that Dave Rogers has, and when they played Bray last week, it was probably the worst Finn Harps team I've seen playing the Carlisle grounds. Keith Cowan was at the back. Now, Keith has had a stellar career in the league, but he's probably not of the quality that Rogers was expecting to bring in, you know, or to have, you know. So, I mean, he was obviously with Drogheda and things like that, but I think Keith is 36, 37
He also was
now.
starting to suffer a good few injuries when he was at Drogheda, and I wonder if that's still in play. If that's the case, and at that stage of your career, you're going to really struggle, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a couple of good young kids that are at Finn Harps. So when they played Bray, you could just see that you were expecting the more experienced players to bring the young lads on. They just didn't. And Dave Rogers was on the sideline trying to G them up and stuff. But, you know, I mean, let's be honest, the Finn Harps fans were probably not expecting anything from the Waterford game. But as you said, to be 11-0 down on aggregate to Waterford, it's quite a poor return.
Considering they were in the Premier Division last year, I know a lot has changed, but we have to remember they were in the Premier Division last year for Harps.
Yeah. Everyone, bar me, was expecting them to be up there challenging. But you know, it's going to be a struggle. But in another sense, Keith, I already said it. A couple of more results, a run of a couple of results if they play teams around them, and they shoot up the table, but you can shoot straight back down just as quick.
Doesn't feel like they're capable of doing that though, does it? Like I don't know. I know Dave Rogers keeps saying it's a very young squad, but isn't that maybe it's too young? And as well as that, I think in the League of Ireland it's very difficult to build a young team because most of the time, if they're kind of good enough, they're not going to be there long. Or say with Finn Harps, they'll move to a higher maybe team in the first division or Premier Division or something like that. Very hard to build a young team at any of the League of Ireland levels, I feel, for that reason.
Me?
Yeah, why not? What do you think?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's all well and good having young players with a bit of fitness and blah blah. But the first division is a tough old slog at times, you know. So you need experience within the ranks, and Finn Harps don't have enough of that. Let's say, as I said, key counts there, but they don't have enough experience. And I was talking to a couple of Finn Harps before the game last week, and he texted me after the game. He says, "I told you we were shy." I wasn't expecting them to be that bad, but you know, and then they've gone and lost 4-0 to Waterford. So fair play to Waterford, trying to stay in the coattails of Galway, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, Sean, were you at the game or just watched the game? It's a long way up.
I just watched the game.
I'd imagine so, especially on a Friday evening. But yeah, Waterford are in an awkward position, like because they're doing very well. Like now, they're 9 points out of Bray. 10 points behind Galway. Keith Long has done well since he's gone in there, to be fair. Coughlin, as I said, is banging in the goals. It's incredible the goals he's banging in. Before I talk about the game as such and the performance and that, what maybe you thought Harps watching it as well, like it is a strange position Waterford are in. It's an awkward one, isn't it?
Yeah, you're really relying on Galway to slip up and for us to like not slip up for the rest of the season. That's basically
and slip up badly as such, Galway as such.
Someone have to go, like it would have to be like echoing last season where things went catastrophically wrong for Galway in the middle of the season. And you know, there's no Alex Murphy, who's like the crux of the team that could go in the middle of the season for Galway this year. So I don't see that happening really. And as well as that, you know, there are a few. Try to avoid talking about the game too much before we get onto it, but there's a bit of complacency in the squad that maybe I think we're more likely to slip up than Galway are, because I think Galway are just a bit more professional than us.
I also think the squad is a little bit thinner, isn't it?
It's a bit, yeah, it's a bit thinner at the moment. Now I think hopefully that'll be remedied all right when in the summer we'll get a few players in. I think I'd imagine that Keith and Rennie have a few players lined up that they might want to come in. But it's a matter of getting there. That's still July, so you're talking about a month away. So you've got to keep going until then. I think look, to be fair, aside from the Galway game, aside from the Wexford game, I think it's been fairly good so far. You know, I'd have confidence, but I would worry about that bit of complacency leaking into the squad.
Yeah, what do you think of the performance overall in the day against Finn Harps?
You know, actually, as far as 4-0 performances go, it really wasn't great. I'd echo what
that doesn't say a lot for Finn Harps, then, does it?
That's where I was kind of glad Keith said that, because I was worried about being too harsh. But Harps were really, really poor. I mean, they were worse tthan Kerry, I thought, because at least Kerry were organised. It's a matter of, they are building a very young team up there, and they like us. The squad was very thin in terms of like slate of first team players that that we get into a lot of the majority of first division squads. And it was just I thought we could have scored a lot more, but I don't think we really wanted to. We didn't want to enough. We kind of, there was a few chances came and the shots were kind of scuffed, or they went over the bar, or there was a bit too much eagerness or something like that. But yeah, it wasn't our greatest performance of the season. Maybe the pitch factored into it or something like that. But I'd certainly hope for better.
Interesting stuff. We'll get on to the predictions for Friday, and at the Carlisle grounds. No doubt you'll be at this one. Not a big, you don't have to travel far for this one, Keith. Bray at home to Cove, and Bray will be hoping to put back-to-back wins for the first time in a long time, really, won't they?
Yeah. And they need to, because if they are to cement their place in the playoff, they need to win this game. Cove have been doing relatively well this season. Shane Keegan has them playing all right. So look, they had a 2-2 draw last week against Athlone, and Bray are on the up a little bit. So your home form stands for you. So Ian I'll be hoping to get a result. I fully expect a win here. I don't think it'll be as comfortable as it was down in Kerry, but I think Bray will just nick it 1-0.
Sean?
Yeah, Cove are kind of an unknown quantity, but between 5-0 the week before and 2-2 draw last Friday, it's hard to see him getting anything out of this. I'd say 2-1 to Bray. I think it'll be a close game, but I don't know that they have enough to overturn Bray in their own backyard. So I'd say 2-1 to Bray.
Yeah, Witches as well. I had 1-0 to Bray, so similar all round there. Galway at home to Athlone. It'd be kind of funny if Athlone lost to Kerry and then beat Galway, but I don't know, Keith. Can't see that happening, can you?
Look, it's a bit of a local derby, isn't it? Athlone don't have very far to travel, so I'm not expecting anything from Athlone. Given the turmoil in inverted commas that's going on within the club at the moment. Galway will have to look out for Pirro. Obviously, he hasn't got the goals. He hasn't got the goals this season for nothing. So, do you know what? It wouldn't surprise me if Galway look to sign him in the off season. It's so close.
Thinking they've enough as it is.
What?
Sean's thinking they've enough as it is.
Yeah.
But I'm expecting a comfortable win here, so I'll go Galway 3-0.
Sean?
Yeah, I'd say 3-1. I think Athlone scored first last time, and I think they're capable of doing something similar this time as well. But I don't think they have enough. They have nearly enough to last the course against Galway. So I think ultimately they'll run out, and I'll say 3-1.
Yeah, I'd go with that as well. I do think Athlone will score, but I'll go 4-1 Galway. Kerry and Wexford. I'm just thinking about this one, and you'd wonder if Wexford weren't to win this game, Keith, would Kerry be in a bit of trouble, let's say?
As Sean already alluded to with Stephen Henderson, I don't want to be calling for managers to be sacked or whatever.
No,
like
but
that.
I think it's more a case of from Wexford's point of view. I don't know what the board would be thinking, but surely with the type of players they brought in, they'd expect them to be challenged for a playoff. And I'm just thinking if they were to lose or draw to Kerry, maybe they'd be thinking, I don't know, but that's only hypothetically because Wexford could win the game, obviously.
Yeah, look, it's a tough place to go, and they have brought in players that were obviously expecting them to propel them further up the league. Hasn't happened for them, as I already mentioned. Aaron Robinson's had a couple of injuries, so I'm actually going to go for a draw here. I don't think Wexford will have enough. I know Dobbs has been in and out of goals a little bit this season, but they haven't been consistent, Wexford. So, and Kerry on their home patch, crowd behind them. I know they've sold out a lot of their games. So, 1-1 draw.
Sean?
I think Kerry can win this one. It'll be interesting, all right. I mean, if Kerry does get sacked, that'll be 2 managers who lost to Kerry, both sacked. There should be an interesting statistic. But I think,
be a good pub quiz question.
It would be. Yeah, it would be. But I think the loss to Bray won't hurt Kerry as much as Wexford's season has hurt them. They've been really disappointing, and particularly at home to Longford. Now, fair enough, Longford were on a bit of an upward trajectory, but I still would have expected Wexford before that game to get something out of it. The fact that they lost so comprehensively, it's got to be a really tough blow for them to take. Confidence can't be high. Compare that to Kerry. I mean, I think, they'd be looking at this game, they'd be saying, this is one we can win. I've said that about a few games before for Kerry this season at home, but I think this one's finally going to be the first home win of the season. I'm going to say 2-0 to Kerry.
There will be some crack when Kerry do. I'm sure at some point they're going to win their first game of the season, but I'm going to go against this here. I think Wexford will just have enough quality and they'll win the game 2-1. Treaty and Finn Harps, and this all depends for me, Keith, on what treat you have available, really.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't know what way their side's going to go, given you had so many players out last week.
Yeah.
It's a long old trip for Finn Harps down to Limerick, so They really need to get results. They're languishing in ninth spot at the moment. It's only Kerry underneath them, So they definitely need to get a result because, again, like what do the board want up in Finn Harps? Are they happy enough with it just to kind of cozy along and to build up for next season or whatever? I know some of the supporters are their feet are getting a bit itchy and stuff, and they're not happy with a couple of the performances. So, given Treaty, their squad isn't at full strength. Given Finn Harps aren't really up to it, I'm gonna go for 0-0.
Sean?
Yeah, I think I'll go for the same. This has 0-0 written all over it, given the circumstances.
I have a feeling Treaty won't magically have everyone available next week either. If somehow they did, I'd fancy them strongly, by the way. If this was a couple of weeks ago, let's say. But I agree with you as well. I'll go for a 1-1 draw though on this one. Longford Town and Waterford, obviously the game on Saturday. And the last time I met was 1-1 in the RSC. Isn't that right, Sean?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, it was 1-1 in the RSC. So, yeah, it's a difficult one for Waterford, Keith. Have you seen this one?
Yeah, Longford seemed to have a bit of a hoodoo over Waterford. Couple of results, particularly in the RSC last season as well, early on. Longford are on a good run though, but Waterford seem to be scoring at will as well, and we're Ronan Coughlin up top, and Connor Parsons seems to be on form a little bit this season, so it wouldn't surprise me if Longford get a draw out of this, but I think Waterford win this game probably by 2-0.
Sean?
I'd say 2-1 to us. I think we're definitely capable of winning this game. And as far as the season goes, we really need to win every game at this stage of the season. It's definitely it's going to be a really tough game, which is why I'm saying 2-1. But we got a similar result there last season against a Longford squad that was better. So we're kind of at the same spot. I think we're definitely. They kind of seem to only have the hoodoo over us at
RC.
At the RC. Yeah. So yeah. I think we're capable. I think we're capable of getting the result here, and I'm going to say 2-1.
I think a little problem for Waterford might be going into this game. There's a good chance they'll be 13 points behind by the time they're going to the game. I think that's going to be very difficult for them. You won't like this one. I think it might be a draw. I'll go for a 1-1 draw. So look, guys, we'll leave it there. Thanks for coming on, lads. That was brilliant, by the way. Subscribe back home. Let us know what you think in the comments, and thanks for watching.